Welcome back. All right, let's get back into the intentional tort of assault. What are the elements? Intentional conduct by the defendant, which creates in the plaintiff awareness of an immediate harmful or offensive contact. I also want to talk about the intentional tort of battery. What are the elements? Intentional conduct by the defendant, which has to create contact of a harmful or offensive nature. Biggest difference is with an assault, you don't actually need the contact, and you must be aware of it, and it must be immediate. Battery, you do need the contact, and it's got to be harmful or offensive. So there's a big distinction. You must have the contact in a battery. But I want to go back to the first element of intentional conduct before I describe offensive actions. Intentional conduct by the defendant in all of the intentional torts, it doesn't require premeditation. Like you meant to do something, so you did it. It could, but what it really requires is that if you're the defendant, or if you set something in motion, that action has a consequence. It's intentional. I talk with my hands. Let's say I just accidentally hit somebody. Even though I didn't mean to do it, my motive, I didn't mean to do it. It was unintentional. As far as intentional conduct goes, it was intentional because it still happened. My action had a consequence. So with an assault, with a battery, you need intentional conduct by the defendant. And with an assault, you have to be aware, it has to be immediate, and it must be of a harmful or offensive nature. I think we can all agree that we know what could be viewed as harmful. But what I want to focus on today is offensive. What can be viewed as an offensive action? To answer that question, it really depends on the facts. For example, let's say you do a photojournal project when President Biden was president. Let's say he was addressing the nation in Southern California over here in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. You were given extra credit if you took a photojournal of this particular address to the nation. You bring a friend, you go, you're about 25 yards, not even 25 yards, 25 feet away from the podium where the president's about to address the nation. Remember, it's Joe Biden. So it's really hot. You tell your friend, please go grab us some sodas. I'm going to save our spots. Your friend grabs a soda, comes back, and you take the straw because it's so hot. You take half of, like 80% of the straw off, and then you put the little piece of paper at the end of the straw and you blow on it. Remember what you did when you used to pop your brother or your sibling when you were younger? You just do it for fun. Put the straw in the soda, and as soon as you do that, the cameras start rolling and the president actually approaches the podium. The guys that talk to the lapel, they say, okay, we're rolling, people. President's coming. Everyone pay attention. Cameras are rolling. When you blew that little end of the straw covering into the air, finally, it was so hot, the wind picks up. You got your camera rolling. You're drinking your soda through the straw. That little piece of paper that you blew and that flew into the air is flying in the wind. The president's approaching the podium. The president is somehow gets distracted by that little piece of paper that hasn't touched the ground that you blew in through that straw, and it floated in the air because the wind picked it up. And this is what Biden does. It doesn't touch the ground. I'm going to pretend that I'm President Biden. He's looking at that little piece of paper. No, it wasn't an ice cream truck, but no, he's looking at this little piece of straw, and he's doing this. And all the time that this is going on, this whole time that he's staring at this little piece of straw in the air, floating in the wind, the TV cameras are rolling. And he looks at it, it flicks his cheek, and he swatches it, and he goes, ladies and gentlemen of the country, he addresses the nation. Okay? Those are the facts. Also, as you're leaving, the guys that talk to their lapel, the Secret Service agents, they come up to you and go, excuse me, and they hand you a complaint. You read it, and you're like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm being sued for, among other things, the torts of assault and battery. And guess who's suing me? The President of the United States, former President Biden. Oh my goodness. You're like, this is nuts. Most of you would probably say, there's no way he's going to be able to say that blowing into the wind, a little piece of paper at the end of a straw, the straw covering, into the air, if it flicks the president on the cheek, is an assault or battery. That seems ridiculous. And I agree with you. It does seem ridiculous. But believe it or not, Biden would be successful suing you for the torts of assault and battery. This is why. Because he, at the time, was the president of the United States, addressing the nation, cameras are rolling. When you blew that piece of paper, there was intentional action by you, the defendant, okay? That was intentional conduct by you, the defendant. Biden was aware of it. He was fascinated. He was staring at that little piece of paper. It was immediate. He saw it coming. Was it harmful? Heck no. A 0.00001 ounce piece of paper is not harmful when it touches your cheek. But because he was the president addressing the nation when the cameras are rolling, because of who he is, it could be viewed, because of who he is, as offensive conduct. So he would be successful with the intentional tort of assault and establishing it against you. Let's also talk about the intentional tort of battery. Would the president be successful suing you for the tort of battery? The answer also would be yes. Again, the elements are a lot less to prove. It's intentional conduct by the defendant, and your conduct was intentional. It didn't, whether you meant to hit somebody or not, including the president, it doesn't matter. You blew that piece of paper into the air. It didn't touch the ground, and your action had a consequence. It touched Joe Biden's cheek. Now, you have the contact. It certainly was not harmful, but it could be viewed as offensive. As a result, you have assault and battery. Make sense? So it's a very challenging tort based on circumstance. You have to look at all the facts, because I want to distinguish this particular case from another one. Let's just move or change venues. Instead of being in the Rose Bowl waiting to hear the president address the nation, let's move it to McDonald's. Okay, you're at McDonald's with your friends. You get your super-sized fries, Big Mac, and I'm sure a Diet Coke, because that's what we do, and I don't know why, but we do. Anyway, you sit down. Your friend is sitting across from you and just griping about his situation and his relationships, and you're tired of listening to him. So you take the straw. Before you put it in your Diet Coke, you take about 90% off of it. You leave a little bit hanging, and you look at your friend, and right at their face, you go, you're like, direct hit. You got your friend right in the cheek. Your friend's annoyed and says, you know what? I'm so sick of this. I'm trying to explain my feelings about my relationship to you, and you're just messing around. That is offensive. I'm going to sue you for the torts of assault and battery. Will your friend be successful? I'm going to tell you, absolutely not. Of course not. It's ridiculous. Why? Because this is your friend sitting down, eating at McDonald's. He's not the president. He's not addressing the nation. So let's go through the elements. Yes, you had intentional conduct. This time you had motive too, but it didn't matter. You still set that in motion. It wasn't intentional. That piece of paper you blew into the straw, aiming for your friend. Your friend saw that piece of paper coming. Awareness. It was immediate. It was not a harmful contact, and it was also not an offensive contact. Why? Because you are not the president addressing the nation in front of a bunch of cameras rolling. Why? It's your best friend at McDonald's popping a little 0.00001 ounce piece of paper to your face. If you tried to challenge that, they'd laugh you out of court as well. So remember, offensive is based on the facts and circumstances. It's really how you evaluate this tort of assault. And that's also true with the tort of battery. In this one, there's no battery. Why? There is intentional conduct. There is contact. The little piece of paper touched your friend's face. However, it was not harmful, nor could it be viewed as offensive, because you're at McDonald's having lunch, screwing around with friends. Hopefully that enlightens you a little bit about how you can view the word offensive, in the two torts of assault and battery. I got a lot of questions as I do these little pieces of information daily, and I will address them. We're going to jump into all of the defenses to both torts of assault and battery, which answers a lot of the questions that I've gotten in the past, I don't know, just literally 24 hours. So I'm really excited that you guys are interested. I will be addressing those questions as we go through the legal defenses tomorrow. Have a great day.